Comparison of a measure of two quantities, two or more quantities which are of the same kind. Okay, if you are measuring, suppose you are finding out ratio of flour and sugar to make a cake. So how much measure of flour and how much measure of sugar? Suppose you are measuring it with a cup. Then you will take the ratio of how much measure of a flour and a measure of sugar you are taking to make the cake. And that ratio remains constant even if you increase the quantity of the cake. Suppose initially you are making a half kg cake, then you have to make a 10 kg cake. But in that case, the ratio of the flour and the sugar that you have taken remains constant. Now let's understand first with the definition. So ratio is a comparison of measures of two or more quantities. Many children get confused that it is only with two quantities. No, it's not like that. It can be A is to B is to C is to D is to E. It can be more quantities also. Where the first is called the antecedent and the last one is called the consequent. Now let's understand the portions of ratio and proportion based on different types of questions that are asked. Because this concept is taught in primary classes also, in 6th grade also. But when it comes to higher grades, the complication of questions increases. So in this video, I'm going to teach you the different types of questions that are expected in this chapter. So type 1. Type 1 type of questions are where they ask you to simplify the ratio. Now how do we simplify the ratio if it is in fraction or it is in decimal? Normal ratio, if it was a normal ratio like 2 is to 3, you would have or it was 4 is to 6, you would have easily said 4 is to 6 becomes 2 is to 3. No issues. But in this case, the ratio is 1 upon 4 and 1 upon 6. How do we simplify it? So we'll take the LCM of the denominators. In this case, the LCM is 12. So multiply both the ratios. Take LCM of 4 and 6. Now, the LCM is 12. So, we multiply 1 upon 4 by 12 as well, 1 by 6 by 12. When you cancel, this becomes 3, this becomes 2. So, the ratio is 3 is to 2. You have simplified this as 3 is to 2. Now, similarly, if it is in case of decimals, you will multiply both the sides by 10. So, there is one decimal place, that's why I am multiplying by 10. So, this becomes 85 is to 100. Now, you reduce it to its lowest term by dividing it by the common factor. We can see here it's divisible by 5. So, we divide by 5 and get 17 is to 20. That's the simplified form of the B part. Now, let's come to the second type of questions. So, in your books, there will be questions based on this type. You can solve them, and if in case you don't get it, you come back to these examples again and learn from it. Okay. So, the second type. Find the ratio of 1 kilometer to 360 meters. In this case, what we will do, instead of converting the smaller unit to bigger unit, we change the bigger unit to the smaller unit. That will help us. So, 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters. And the ratio of 1 kilometer to 360 meters is 1000 meter upon 360, cancelling the zeros. Common factor 2 or 4. We can divide by 2 also, and then we have to do it double. Otherwise, we divide by 4. If I divide by 4, I get 25. I get 9. So, 25 by 9. So, the ratio becomes 25 is to 9 is the answer. So, what did we do? We first brought the units into the same type. We can change it to the bigger unit also, but then the complication of the question will increase. So, it's better always to change it to the smaller unit. Let's move on to the third type. So, the third type of questions are where you are asked to divide a quantity into two ratios. Okay. Or it can be asked to divide into three ratios. So, what do we do? Here the formula is if you have to divide a quantity Q suppose you are dividing the quantity Q in the ratio of A is to B. So the formula is A upon A plus B into Q is the first part. B upon A plus B into Q is the second part. That's a formula. But अपना देसी मेथड क्या है? देसी मेथड है कि दोनों को 5x plus 7x ले लो is equal to 840, 12x is equal to 840, x is equal to, we know this is 70, and now we can find out 5x, that is 350, and 7x, that is 490, and the sum is 840. Similarly, the second method for this can be, the first part will be the formula that I was telling you before, 5 upon 12 into 840. So you divide, you get 70 and you get 350. And the second part is 7 upon 12 into 840. That is 490. So both methods are correct. The previous method that I taught was taught in the primary classes in grade 6. But in higher classes, the second method is preferred because that's easy and a single step solution. What to do when there are three ratios and that too in fractions? First, we will simplify the ratios. That means the fraction part has to be changed to simplified normal ratio. We have learned it previously. So here is a combination of two questions. We have to first simplify and then break a quantity into its part. What do we do here? The LCM of 2, 3 and 4 is 12. So we divide all three in the ratio, all three parts of the ratio, we multiply by 12. So 1 by 2 into 12 is to 1 by 3 into 12 is to 1 by 4 into 12. So when we cancel, we get here 6, we cancel, we get 4, we cancel, we get 3. So the ratio becomes 6 is to 4 is to 3. Now, once we have the ratio, what do? We have to divide 260 into these three parts. Part 1 will be 6 upon 13 into 260, cancelling 120. Part 2 will be 4 upon 13 into 260, 80, and part 3 will be 3 upon 13 into 260, that is 60. And we can check the sum is 260 here. That's how we do it. Fifth type of question. This is the type of questions which trouble the students the most. But it's very easy. We learn it. So in this question, we are given ratio of A is to B and B is to C. And we are asked to find A is to C. Now we won't find A is to C directly here. We can't write that A is to C is 5 is to 25 as per this question. We will first make the B quantity. The B quantity here and the B quantity here same. In this case, A is to B, B is 8. Whereas in B is to C, B is 18. So we take out the LCM of 8 and 18. What will be the LCM? 72. Yes, 18 into 4, 72. Okay, so now A upon B is 5 upon 8. We multiply it by 9 to make it 45 by 72. B is to C is B upon C. Let's write it like that. B upon C is 18. Okay. Upon 25, and we have to make it 72. That means you are multiplying by 4 is 72 by 25. Sorry, 100. Now what mistakes usually children do? They try to make the denominators equal because you are used to making denominators equal. But in this case, we are not making the denominators equal. We are making the B quantity equal. So once we get this, we can write A is to B is to C is 45 is to 72 is to 100. Now A is to C is 45 is to 100. We can reduce it to 9 is to 20 also. So this is what we get as a number. Okay, let's move on to the next type. So the next type is 2a is equal to 3b is equal to 4c. Find a is to b is to c. In this case, we'll take 2a is equal to 3b is equal to 4c is equal to k. Now, this k is equal to all three of them. So we can write 2a is equal to k. It implies a is equal to k by 2. Same way, we can write 3b is equal to k. It implies b is equal to k by 3. And 4c is equal to k. It implies c is equal to k by 4. Now if I have to find a is to b is to c, as per the values that I have got here, what will I do? I'll write k is upon 2 is to k upon 3 is to k upon 4. Now the next step will be we simplify this. We have learned it before that how to simplify. Divide by k, we get 1 by 2 is to 1 by 3 is to 1 by 4. Multiply by the LCM of 2, 3, 4. So multiplying by 12 into 1 by 3, 12 into 1 by 4, and we get 6 is to 4 is to 3. That's the answer. Now, we have got the value of A is to B is to C by this. So, you understand? The question is same, but it is put in a different method. This is a little complicated question. Now, if x is to y is given to you and they ask you to find the value of 2x plus 3y upon 3x plus 2y. This means you are knowing the value of x upon y is equal to 3 upon 2. Now, in this equation, if I divide the numerator and denominator both by y, I will get 2x upon y plus 3 upon 3 x upon y plus 5. Now, I know x upon y is 3 upon 2. So, 2 into 3 upon 2 plus 3. I will not write it like this. I will write it like this. So that my calculation part becomes little easy for me. So, this gets cancelled. It is 6 divided by, this is 9 by 2 plus 5. 6 divided by 9 plus 10 upon 2, which becomes 6 divided by 19 by 2, which becomes 6 divided by, 6 multiplied by 2 by 19, which is equal to 12 upon 19. So we get the answer. This is equal to 12 upon 19. Now the last type of question that we are going to deal now is what must be added to each term of the ratio so that the new ratio is 5.6. Let x be added. That means 3 plus x upon 5 plus x is equal to 5 upon 6. Cross multiplication 6, 3 plus x, 5, 5 plus x. Opening the brackets with the help of distributive property, that is like this. So it becomes 18 plus 6x is equal to 25 plus 5x. So x is equal to 7.